John Carpenter's Halloween is dead simple and dead effective, so much so that it's still considered one of the best horror movies of all time. And when you're the best, audiences expect to see the rest. Yes, Halloween has been sequelized and rebooted to death in the 40 plus years since its release, and that's led to a totally f***ed up mess of totally different continuities.
Totally.
Sometimes Michael Myers is Laurie's brother, sometimes he's driven by a druid curse, sometimes he's not even in the movie at all. So now that Halloween Ends has arrived and completed David Gordon Green's sequel trilogy, let's look back at all the different timelines in this franchise. On Halloween night in 1963, 6-year-old Michael Myers stabs his sister Judith to death for some reason. He's sent to a mental hospital for the next 15 years and placed under the care of Dr. Sam Loomis. And after all that time attempting to treat Michael, Loomis accepts that the young killer is, simply put,
evil.
And this evil can't be contained. Michael escapes and returns to Haddonfield to wreak havoc, targeting babysitter Laurie Strode and Tommy Doyle, the boy she looks after. After stalking Laurie and her friends Annie and Linda, Michael strikes and chokes and decorates. And he finally moves on to Laurie, who's now taken on the deceased Annie's babysittee, Lindsay Wallace. She'd better get paid double for this, like at least. Michael learns quickly that Laurie's no Judith Myers because despite falling down the stairs and getting slashed in the arm, Laurie fights back and wins. Loomis finally arrives on the scene and unloads his revolver into Michael, who falls out the window. Loomis checks to make sure Laurie's okay before going to make sure Michael's dead, and it turns out that was a truly poor way to spend those crucial seconds, because Michael has time to escape into the night. That primal tale of terror serves as the groundwork of nearly every Halloween movie to follow, and events here in the original timeline pick up right after Michael and Laurie's confrontation. Laurie's transported to a hospital to recover from her wounds, and Michael returns to finish what he started. And though he certainly thins out the hospital staff, Laurie and Dr. Loomis triumph over Michael once again. It's during the course of Halloween 2 that we learn, at least in this timeline, that Laurie is Michael Myers' long-lost sister. The importance of that familial connection fuels Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. In the intervening 10 years, Laurie had a daughter, Jamie, before dying in a car accident. Even though Michael's been in a coma since getting blowed up real good in Halloween 2, hearing a couple of gossiping orderlies mention his niece gives him a shot of murder adrenaline so powerful he awakens and escapes to identify and kill young Jamie. Michael does track Jamie down, but interference from her adoptive sister Rachel and Dr. Loomis buys her enough time to get away. Eventually, the citizens of Haddonfield get involved for the hunt for Michael, and with a little vehicular assault and a ton of bullets, Myers finally goes down. But not before making physical contact with Jamie. And here's where things get wacky. Yep, Michael Myers somehow mind melds with Jamie, and the cycle of slashing begins anew. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers reveals that Michael actually survived being lit the hell up. Shocker, I know, oh my god. And he floated down the river. He spends the next year in another coma, being taken care of by this river pirate guy, while Jamie is in a psych hospital. The two remain psychically linked, and Jamie experiences Michael's murders as they happen. Dr. Loomis is sticking around to absolutely terrify her, and to use her as bait to lure Michael out. Then just as literal bait. But Loomis traps and tranks Michael, and he ends up behind bars for 5 minutes. Just long enough for a mysterious stranger bearing a matching tattoo to Michael's to show up and bust him out. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers reveals that same man kidnapped Jamie and years later forced her to deliver a baby. And Michael hates blood relatives. But Jamie's able to escape, call into a radio show to warn Haddonfield that Myers is loose again, and hide her child just before Michael corners and kills her. And who finds the baby? Paul Rudd! Tommy Doyle, the same boy Laurie Strode babysat on Halloween night in 1978. Tommy's research into Michael has revealed that he's being controlled by a druid curse laid on him by the Cult of Thorn, which drives him to eliminate his bloodline. And if he does, the curse will pass to Danny Strode, Laurie's cousin's son. Yeah, that's about the point where we can just say the guy who ran the asylum Michael was imprisoned in is part of the Cult of Thorn. He's the one who saved Michael and kidnapped Jamie. They all wind up back at the asylum and they defeat Michael once and for no, he survives and kills Loomis. Woof! Okay, let's try that again. Okay, forget all that druid curse crap. The H2O timeline deletes the events of Halloween 4 through 6 and instead picks up with Laurie 20 years after Michael's killing spree. In this timeline, Laurie is living under an assumed identity to protect herself and her son, John. Laurie's headmaster at a secluded private school in California, which John attends. And you know what secluded private schools are good for? Michael Myers' kill count. Laurie and Michael face off yet again, and yet again, Michael goes ass backwards out a window, seemingly to his death. But Laurie knows better than to assume just because he's in a body bag, that means he's dead. So she steals the coroner's van, rolls it onto him, and cuts his head off. Except it wasn't Michael's head. Halloween Resurrection's opening scene retcons Laurie's victory by explaining Michael crushed a paramedic's windpipe, slapped his mask on him, and put him in the body bag to take the beheading for him. Laurie's placed in a mental hospital after that, and Michael comes around to finish what he started over 20 years prior.
I'll see you in hell.
Halloween Resurrection came out right around when reality TV was beginning to infect the collective consciousness and sees a bunch of idiots take part in a live stream in the abandoned Myers house. So, you know how that's gonna go. And while this may be the worst Halloween movie, Busta Rhymes does at least get to drop what may be the best line of dialogue in the whole franchise.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Now, before we get into the modern continuity, let's take a look at a couple of the Halloween timelines that exist especially far out of the classic atmosphere. The original plan after Halloween 2's release was to turn the franchise into an anthology series, with the Halloween branding being used to tell new original stories. The first and only of those being Season of the Witch. Though critically savaged at the time, the deeply weird movie about a Celtic witch's efforts to sacrifice children en masse via cursed Halloween masks has gone on to become a beloved cult hit, thanks in no small part to the absolute banger of a commercial jingle that sets the masks off.
4 days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 4 days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
There's only one way to get that jingle out of your head, and it is not pretty. And while David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy has become much more popular, Rob Zombie actually took the first crack at rebooting the franchise back in 2007, with a remake that gambled by spending the first half of the movie on Michael's rough upbringing and time in Dr. Loomis's care, with the second half being a truncated retread of the original movie. The sequel does the reverse by condensing the original Halloween sequel's plot of Michael attacking Laurie in the hospital into the movie's first 20 minutes, revealing that it's all in Laurie's head once Michael's axe comes down on her. What follows in reality isn't much different. It's largely another Michael comes back for Laurie story that maintains the brother-sister relationship from the original timeline and ends with Michael killing Loomis, Laurie killing Michael, and winding up in an asylum smiling like Norman Bates from Psycho. That brings us to the current continuity, which has abandoned all but the original Halloween in a move that significantly streamlines the canon. Halloween 2018 takes place 40 years later, Laurie's still alive, she and Michael are no longer related.
That's just a bit that some people made up to make him feel better, I think.
And her obsessive preparation for his inevitable return has completely broken her relationship with her daughter Karen, though granddaughter Allison still wants to keep that bridge from burning. As Michael is wont to do, he escapes custody while being transferred and returns home to Haddonfield for another Halloween night from hell. He slashes and impales his way through Allison's social network and eventually makes his way to Laurie's home. Well, calling it a compound would probably be more accurate. And in grand Home Alone fashion, Laurie's house is full to the brim with booby traps designed to trap and kill Michael once and for all. And even though the Strode women succeed in the trapping part, we all know killing Michael once and for all almost never takes. Halloween Kills takes place in the immediate aftermath of those events, with some well-meaning firefighters accidentally pardoning Michael from his fiery death sentence. Befitting of a second Halloween movie, Laurie spends much of it in the hospital as the citizens of Haddonfield, including the grown-up Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace, whip themselves into a frenzy trying to rid themselves of the boogeyman that's plagued their town's memories for decades. Their main weapons? Mass hysteria and the funniest 3 words ever committed to a horror film.
Evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight!
Evil dies tonight!
All right, evil dies tonight!
Allison realizes that Michael returns back to his childhood home after his killing frenzies and confronts him there. Just as Michael's about to kill her, Karen lures him into the middle of a mob of Haddonfielders, which gives him an opportunity to stage his version of The Matrix Reloaded's Burly Brawl. But the citizens overwhelm him, with Karen dealing the death blow. Yes, Michael is finally... yeah, you know where this is going. That leads us to the latest and presumably final installment of the modern timeline, Halloween Ends, large portions of which we are about to completely spoil. You've been warned.
Let's go.
The prologue of Halloween Ends takes place 1 year after Michael's return to Haddonfield, when another babysitter's night ends in tragedy. Corey Cunningham's watching out for Jeremy, who's a total piece of crap.
And I don't really feel like pretending to be best friends with an ugly-ass boy babysitter.
Jeremy locks Corey in the attic, and when Corey freaks out and breaks the door down, even though he's acquitted of any wrongdoing, Corey becomes a pariah in the town and abandons his college dreams for a job at his dad's scrapyard. 4 more years pass, and we catch back up with Lori and Allison living together and trying to move on. Allison has taken a liking to Corey, Lori's flirting at the grocery store, Michael hasn't been seen since his last frenzy, things are going great. That is until a roving group of mean band geeks toss Corey off a bridge and he's taken into Michael Myers' underground lair. That's when the two look into each other's eyes and Corey goes a little weird after that. Like, he basically becomes Michael Myers' intern. Like, that weird. Lori knows a killer when she sees one and tries to warn Allison, but by the time Allison realizes her new beau is Haddonfield's latest killer, it's too late. Corey shows up to do what Michael never could.
Did you really think I'd kill myself?
And learns the hard way that Laurie Strode doesn't get taken out by guys in masks. And with the student dead, Laurie moves on to the master of stabbing. Laurie and Michael duel one last time, and with Allison's help, Laurie kills Michael. She really kills him. She makes sure everyone knows she killed him, and then she kills him even more. So for as many times as Michael has died, it seems like this one may finally stick. And that's for the best. Laurie could use a break. She has definitely earned it. Thanks for watching. For more on Halloween, check out our review of Halloween Ends and our interview with the cast. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.
So you like IGN, huh? The news, the videos, the guides, and wikis, it's all in your wheelhouse. But do you ever wish there was more? Introducing IGN Plus, a brand new program that's loaded with tons of cool perks and benefits. Sign up for IGN Plus today and you'll unlock free games and in-game content every month, a free subscription to Map Genie Plus, huge discounts for stuff like Dream Gear, Power A, Humble Bundle, the IGN Store, and tons more. IGN Plus is just $29.99 a year for a limited time. You deserve a little extra.